Hello, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today we are going to talk about motivation. So, how to find motivation when you feel like everything in your life is wrong, right? So, not doing anything feels terrible, but at the same time, when doing stuff feels hard and you're on this self-love path, and so it feels like if you don't do anything, that doesn't feel self-loving, but doing something feels hard and that also doesn't feel self-loving. So how do you find this motivation and this balance? So this video actually came as a request, and I'm going to read this specific question, okay? So that we can have some context for what we're about to talk about, okay? So basically the question is this. I need help with motivation. How do you motivate yourself and feel good at the same time? I am rarely motivated to do stuff, and I feel like if I push myself to do something anyways, I am going against myself. Two parts of me want the opposite, one for going after something and another for staying where I am, and the constant battle between them. Okay, any suggestions? Yes, okay. So the first thing we need to understand, all right, is that, and if you watch my last video, all right, you'll know that there is this part of us, right, that when we are motivated from a place of fear, right, when we're motivated from that stimulation, that anxiety, that, oh my gosh, life has gone wrong, I am bad, love can go away, right, when we are motivated from that place, we are always going to find ourselves chasing after things that don't actually fulfill us, okay, and we're always going to find ourselves feeling like we're either feeling like stimulated, right? Like we're moving from this place of like, and we're chasing after something because we feel like where we are is bad and wrong, and we can't be where we are. We can't stay in this place. We have to change because this is so bad, right? And this is so unacceptable. Wherever we are is just so terrible, right? But where we're running to, we're not really even sure where we're going. We just know that where we are is bad and we have to get out of this. We have to move forward. But at the same time, right, there's going to be that part of you that feels like whatever it is that you want to do from that place doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel self-loving. And especially if you're taking this kind of self-love journey, you're going to notice this even more. And you're going to notice when you look around yourself that most people who are motivated around you seem to be kind of motivated from this negative place, right? They're motivated from this sense of I'm not good enough where I am, I'm not successful enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not whatever it is, right? I'm not socially acceptable enough. And I have to push myself, and I have to keep going, and I have to keep striving, and I have to keep, motivating myself in order to get to this place where I will be good enough. And so what I want to say here is this, at the root of this question, right? At the very base of this question is really somebody who's saying, I can feel that I feel like I'm not good enough. I can feel that I feel like who I am right here, right now, fundamentally is not good, right? And I've made that decision inside myself probably from years of being told that by society and my parents and blah, 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 and this life that we live. And because of this, I feel like I have to change. But, right? Because I'm starting to tap into this self-love stuff, and because I'm starting to become more aware of this negative motivation and how bad I feel about myself, and moving from this place of trying to become good enough when I feel like I'm not good doesn't feel right either, right? And that's good, okay? So this question is really coming from a place of you have already grown and expanded. So I want to put that out there, right? If you're at this place where you're feeling like you don't like where you are, you don't like what's happening, you don't like what's going on in your life, but, right, this idea of motivating yourself to do stuff doesn't feel good either, you have probably reached a level where you can understand that this negative motivation, this moving from this place of not feeling like you're good enough right now, doesn't work. And it's never going to get you where you want to go, because I can tell you that, right? And if we look out at the world, this is quite obvious. This happens over and over and over and over and over again. And yet, we as a human race never seem to really pick up on it, which is kind of weird to me, but hey, it's where we're at, right? Which is this. We watch people, right, who are incredibly successful, who work their asses off to get to wherever they are, right? and they get to that pinnacle place where we would think like, wow, you should totally be happy with yourself, you should totally be satisfied, you should totally love who you are, and they are like, I don't, right? I'm not happy. It didn't work. I got to where I thought I needed to be. I accomplished all the things I thought I needed to accomplish. And I essentially still feel about myself the way that I did at the beginning of my journey, right? And maybe even I feel worse about myself than I did at the beginning of my journey, because at least at the beginning of my journey, I had this hope, right? That there was this future ahead of me that I was gonna get to where I could be happy, right? Where now I'm in this place where I've accomplished all those things that I thought was gonna make me happy, and I'm still not happy. And so now that hope of like, oh man, right? At least there was something off in the future that I'm going to be happy when I get there, right? Now these people are there and they're realizing like, oh my gosh, that hope was wrong, that I'm not happy, and now that hope is gone, right? Because I got the thing that I thought I needed to be happy, and I'm still not happy, so now what, right? And so what I'm wanting to suggest here is this. This is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. Okay? This is probably going to be one of the hardest things you've ever done. And this is why, when the person asked this question, they asked it in my Facebook group, and I didn't just respond because I felt like it needed an explanation talking, right? Because writing this out would have been like a huge article. So what I'm going to say is this, right? The first thing that you're going to have to do is learn to love and accept the person that you are right here, right now, in the circumstance that you're in. Okay, now this does not mean, right, because I know that that's where everyone's brain's going, this does not mean that you're never going to change again. This does not mean that you're never going to do anything different. This does not mean that you accept this situation and now you, whatever, right? You never grow, you never learn, you never change ever again for the rest of your life. This is good. No. What this is first things first, realizing that there's kind of like a twofold situation that's going on here, okay? Number one is the more disconnected from yourself that you are, right? So the more you're making yourself wrong, the more you're making yourself bad, the more you're rejecting yourself, the more you're telling yourself that I'm not good the way that I am, the less you are going to be connected to your intuition and the part of you that's guiding you to live this life that is authentic for you, okay? So, and now the less you are connected to that, right, the less you are going to be able to access this motivation from this place of love rather than this motivation from this place of fear. So as you reject yourself, you actually cut yourself off from the thing that would help move you out of the place that you're in right now, right? And we all think, we really, truly, I get this, okay? We all think, there's no way I'm allowed to love myself where I am because this is pitiful, this is silly, this is despicable, this is unacceptable. Where I am right now is not good enough. I cannot love myself here. And if I were to love myself here, that's letting myself off the hook and I'm just going to stay here forever. But what I'm saying is it is the exact opposite. The more you sit there and try to get out of the place that you're in because you believe it makes you wrong, bad, and stupid, despicable, whatever, right? The more stuck in it you're going to be. Because the only way that you're going to find this motivation from within, that is love, right? That is moving you towards what is wanted, that is moving you on your journey, that you can enjoy the journey, because this is where we're going with this, okay? The more you reject all of that part of yourself, right? The worse you're not gonna see this, right? As you reject yourself, the only thing you're gonna have is this negative motivation. And we know, okay? We know this, that when we move from a place of fear, we're going to continue to recreate for ourselves the circumstance that we're in over and over and over again. Or we're gonna create for ourselves over and over again the feeling of being where we are right now. So like I said, when we are rejecting ourselves and when we're trying to find our motivation from this place of I'm not good enough as I am right now, right, which seems logical, it seems like, yeah, no, you should look at all your flaws and all the things that are wrong and all the things that are bad about your reality and all the mess that it is and blah, 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 and that's going to motivate you to move forward. But the truth is, right, so long as we're moving from that place, we're going to continue to create from a place of fear, trying to get away from what we don't want, trying to get away from ourselves, trying to reject who we are and what is true and authentic for us. And we're just going to keep creating this feeling of being not good enough, no matter what we create on the outside. So like I say, from this negative motivation, it doesn't mean that you won't become successful, right? Lots of people have used negative motivation to motivate them all the way to the top of wherever they were. However, like I said, when we do this, it doesn't matter what happens in your life, you're still going to feel like how you feel right now, right? You will become Oprah. And Oprah still doesn't like herself, right? She's got all this success. She's talked to all these beautiful people. She's changed all these people's lives, and she still struggles with her self-esteem and liking her body and liking who she is. And so what I'm saying is, right, with this negative motivation, it doesn't mean negative motivation doesn't work to create external change. It sure can. But that's not what you really want, okay? So this is the key that I really want you to get from this video, okay? The thing that you really want is not an external change. The thing that you really want is to feel like you're good enough for who you are, is to feel like you're allowed to be who you are, is to feel like you're worthy of existing here on the planet. And what you have decided is that unless and until you reach these specific parameters, the specific experience, this thing on the outside, or even just, you may not even have that vision for what the outside is supposed to look like so that you can love yourself, or you just know that right here and right now, this isn't it, right? Lots of people just simply know when they're failing, right? Lots of people just simply know when they're missing their mark, when they're not getting it, right? And that's kind of enough for you to realize that you're in this place, is that from this place, right? I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I am not who I am supposed to be. You're just going to continue to create the same thing over and over again because you're not connected to who you are. So now, second thing, okay? You just want to feel like you're a good enough person. And that has to happen now. That cannot happen in the future. That cannot happen in the past. It will not happen in the future, and it will not happen in the past. The only time where you are able to accept yourself, to embrace yourself, to give yourself permission to feel like you're a worthy person is right now. This is the only time that's going to happen. You can get all the success in the world. You can get your Oscar. You can get any external thing on earth. But if you haven't learned how to give yourself permission to love yourself, regardless of what's going on outside of you, you will not ever feel good enough. No matter what you accomplish, it'll never be enough. You will be a hungry ghost for the rest of your life. And motivation will always feel terrible. It will always feel like you're going against yourself, because you will be, right? When you're motivated from the sense that there's something wrong with me, you are going against yourself, all right? So the magic of this learning to accept who you are right now, the magic of this giving yourself permission to feel like you're a worthy person right here, right now, in whatever you're in, whatever circumstance you're in, whatever thing that you're experiencing, the magic of that is, number one, okay? You will face your fear that if you let yourself love who you are right now, that just means you're going to stay stuck in this forever. You will face that fear, and you need to face that fear, okay? Because I would take a guess that so long as you have been hating yourself, so long as you've been telling yourself you shouldn't be where you are, so long as you've been telling yourself I'm a worthless piece of crap, so long as you've been listening to other people who tell you that you're a worthless piece of crap because of where you are and what you're experiencing and what your life is, you haven't been able to change. You haven't really been able to create any difference in your life. Or you've been able to create some difference in your life, but you still feel like the same piece of crap, right? So look at that, right? Your negative motivation isn't working. You're believing that you're not good enough and holding on to the drama of that, thinking it's going to motivate you to be something different, isn't working. It's not making you something different. And even if it's making you something different on the outside, it's not making you something different on the inside. So you need to embrace who you are right now. You need to embrace the place you are at right now. You need to embrace the circumstance that you're in. You need to embrace the person that you are right now. And you need to embrace how you feel and what you think and all the desires you have and all of this. Start exploring yourself in this time, okay? And like I say, it's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done, okay? Because the entire world is set up to tell you why you shouldn't do this. And this is what I'm going to talk about in my next video, okay? That the world is set up to make you a hungry ghost, right? That culture is set up to make you a hungry ghost, where you're constantly doing things and constantly going for things and constantly working against yourself, trying to fix who you are, trying to change your circumstance. There's always some reason to not like who you are. And that rat race will never end, okay? So long as you're feeling like this, so long as you're feeling like you should be motivated to do something, but everything feels like you're working against yourself, you're right? Because you're moving from a place of saying, who and what I am right now is not worthy of love. Who and what I am right now is not worthy, is not good enough, is not who I should be. I have to hate myself in order to motivate myself to be different, right? Like that addiction to drama that we talked about in the last video, you will be stuck in this cycle. So you have to learn to embrace who you are right now. You have to learn to give yourself permission to be who you are, to love who you are right here, right now, in this. And what I'm going to say is the magical transformational moment that happens when you start to do that, okay, is that as you start to work from a place of self-respect, as you start to work from a place of self-love, as you start to work from a place of, I don't need to be or do anything to be worthy of love, you're going to find your motivation starts to kick in. And you're going to be motivated to do things that you've never been motivated to do before. You're going to be motivated to do different things. You're going to be motivated to do things that you never would have allowed yourself to do before, that will create this life that is radically different probably than the one that you're living right now. But all of it's going to be coming from this place of fundamental worthiness. So again, the bottom line of this is we have to understand what the root vibration, the root motivation, the root foundation of where you're moving from is, and how that's going to influence everything. So again, bottom line, if you are moving from a place of I'm not good enough, everything you create from that place is going to feel like that. That's as simple as I can say it, okay? If you're moving from a place where you're trying to find your motivation from I'm not good enough, because that's your foundation, everything you create from this place is going to feel like that. You can literally become Oprah, like I said, and still feel like that. Because if that's the root of where you're creating from, that is what you are going to create. Because it can be no other way. The foundation is the key. So if you start to create from a place of I am worthy, I am good enough, it's not outside of me what makes me worthy and good enough. It's just an internal thing that I accept about myself right here, right now, no matter what's going on the outside. And yes, no matter what other people are saying, and no matter what society tells me, and no matter what blah, blah, blah expectation is, because that's all there. And like I said, I'm going to talk about this in the next video. But if you can start to make your moves, right? Your decisions, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions from this place, from deciding I'm going to let go of my addiction to this drama, that I'm a terrible person, right? That there's something wrong with me and there's something wrong with life. And I'm just going to start to say, no, I'm going to choose peace about who I am right now. I'm going to choose love about who I am right now. I'm going to choose that I'm worthy and good enough. Now, what would I do if I believed that about myself right now? That is how you find your authentic motivation, right? Because like I say, you're always going to want to learn, you're always going to want to grow, you're always going to want to change. But it does not have to come from this place of hating yourself. Growth, change, and expansion is more available from a place of love than it is from a place of fear. And I've talked about that in another video. The why loving yourself actually means that you're going to change all the time, right? It's this paradox that is absolutely wonderful and beautiful, and you kind of have to experience for yourself. So that's what I'm saying. You're going to have to take the risk to love who you are right now. You're going to have to take the risk to just say, I am worthy and acceptable. I am worthy of love. I'm worthy of feeling how I want to feel. I am worthy of treating myself with respect. I am worthy of treating myself with patience. I am worthy of treating myself with compassion right now, right? And if I believed that about myself, what would I do? How would I live? What would be different about how I treat myself? What would be different about how I behave? What choices would I make from that place? And this is what I'm saying. Change your foundation, change everything. And yeah, I'm going to go deeper into this into the next video because I know that there's going to be lots of objections to this idea, but I just wanted to plant the seed there, okay? If you feel like that motivation feels horrible and hard, like you're moving against yourself, you are right. You are. You're moving against yourself because you're from a place of fear. You're from a place that I'm not good enough, and that's always going to feel horrible. Okay? So if you have any comments, questions, concerns, please leave them down below. Like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. Join Patreon. We meet 3 times a month, and I will see you in the next video.